Are you here? I'm here. The question is, are they here? Right? Today's show. It's Tuesday. I hope that you are buckled up because we got a lot to get to. A lot to get to. That music, once again, is Kevin Macleod. All of you YouTubers out there, I'm sure you know him very, very well. I'm very grateful for his music. I love it. That's Dreamer. And we are all dreaming a dream together, aren't we? Aren't we? Is everybody here? Is everybody in the house? Hello, Shane. Hello, Kelly. Hello, John. Hello, Vanessa. Ninja Pancake. Pancake, I should say. Ninja Pancake, probably, if you know how to read. What's happening, Jerry Runk and Sherry? Okay, looks like everybody's here. Good. I'm glad. I'm excited. I hope you're excited. There is a lot. Hi there. A lot to get to today on today's show. This is something that I've been planning for a while. I've actually I wish I had time to shoot it and then edit it and everything else, but there's so much going on right now, including little Ethan Man. My little man is the star in his show. I'm so excited tonight. We're going to see The Lion King. He's in it. So today's show had to be a live stream. It had to, for a couple of reasons. Also because I want to address a couple of you in the chat today. I'm going to be doing that in a little while. I have a lot to get to. Of course, the thumbnail, if you saw it, probably remember that it's now known as a comet, Oumuamua, which was a messenger, right, from far away who arrives first. Found it from that Panstar telescope in Hawaii. Yeah, I pronounced that wrong, of course. Hawaii. I was trying to be cool. But they this first messenger that arrives first, right? Well, it turns out. Do you remember just a little while ago, just what was it, 7 days ago, I guess, when the channel hit 100,000 subscribers, and it was like so exciting and everything else, and I said there has to be some kind of astrological event going down at the same time, and I looked up, and that asteroid, which is now called a comet, but another comet from another, it's an interstellar comet. We're going to get into that today. It's the second one, which is weird. You know, it comes in at this 90 degree, like if this is, if and once again, I'd like to tell everybody, let's look at this as just information that's given to us, and let's interpret the information, and let's not get hung up on things like whether or not, you know, it's this or it's that or it's real or it's not. Let's just look at the information and let's see what it means spiritually speaking, and then put it in terms that we can all understand physically, considering the world right now is in a state of just unrest, from volcanoes and earthquakes and to meteors and flooding like everywhere. Remember a while ago, Prime Minister of France, climate chaos. We have only 500 something days to avoid climate chaos. Remember he spoke to John Kerry? Well, climate chaos. It's pretty chaotic right now. Some might think that this has to do with an incoming system, perhaps, right? An incoming system that perhaps comes around every how many thousands of years. Yes. Turns out there are actually some theories that comets caused the flood. We're going to talk about that today too. A theory just came out recently about how the universe, the solar system, was formed by smacking into another one. And we're in some kind of a binary system. We have another sun out there. We got all these planets, and they come around. Just because, you know, most if you don't know anything about this stuff, I've done shows on Planet 9, Nibiru. Check them out. It'll give you a little background into all this stuff. The idea that a star is alone and not part of a binary system, meaning two stars that, you know, basically orbit around each other, is it's rare. So There's a belief that we're in a binary system and that there is a whole other solar system out there that is in some kind of an orbit with us, and that every certain amount of time it comes around again and maybe smacks into things and creates things and all sorts of new things happen. Not talking about the world coming to an end, people. So please, see, there's a lot of disinformation out there, right? The stuff that I'm talking about, Planet 9, Planet X, Nibiru, whatever you want to call it, these comets, right? All this stuff, this is stuff that's discussed on a global scale, okay, at major universities. So no, I'm not going to be like that dude who was going to be setting dates and saying that Planet 9 was going to crash into us. No, that's not what I'm saying. I'm going to be saying what a lot of the research is already saying. And I'm going to present to you a couple of things that may make you think, maybe all of this stuff from the new moons that are circling around Jupiter, right? All of a sudden there's like this 12, and one of them's going in the opposite direction. We're going to talk about that. This new interstellar comet that once again is going to be doing a dive on us, following Oumuamua. Let me get that picture up there again. So you get the idea of these visitors, right? Whether they be comets or not. By the way, that comet, holy macket, that Green Comet, they're calling the Hulk, by the way, the Incredible Hulk Comet. That's right, yeah. Well, a couple of organizations, a couple of these websites are calling it that. They're saying that this comet, because it's never come around the sun before, they think it's going to explode, and that's kind of bad news, right? Because that happens, who knows? Because this comet that you're looking at right now on screen, this little green thing, reminds me of another one. When you bring the contrast up, you see these three little lights, and it almost looks like it's some kind of a craft, which they also said Oumuamua was. A couple of people, not just, Tyler over there at Secure Team, but a couple of people. And I know a lot of people right now, I know they're going to say space doesn't exist and blah, 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 and aliens are demons, and I get it, and I'm with you. It's cool. It's all right. Whatever you want to call them, that's fine. But this is what's in the news. This is what's going down. And you can't deny the stuff that you're already seeing in our world right now as we speak. This blood moon is a big deal, right? Everybody's focused so much on this blood moon. That's why I think I titled it. Just want to make sure. By the way, I'm going to go into the chat room here and there. I'm just going to check to make sure everything's going okay. I want to make sure that you can hear me okay. I want to make sure that nothing's too loud or too soft or too lame, because I don't want to be lame. You know what I mean? I want to make sure that you're enjoying yourself today. Hello there, Nazo and Malik. Jem, thank you all for coming. Happy that you're all here with me right now. Jamie, Harmon, Compass. We need to get you a compass. Love how you're becoming more spiritual. I've watched your show and grow. Okay, wonderful. That's great. Good stuff. Back to the blood moon, right? Back to the blood moon. This July 27th. It's the longest lunar eclipse. Longest in our lifetime. A lot of other things happening. All the planets right now, they're on one side of the sun. You can see, if you go out tonight and you start off early, you can see, well, if you got nice clear skies, you can see every single planet. You'd have to stay up all night, but you could do it. People are doing it. It's weird, right? And while that's happening, we also have Mars has this crazy storm, this crazy dust storm that's going on. It's interesting. A lot of weird stuff going down. A lot of people are putting a lot of focus on this, the blood moon. These astronomical signs, I know they do speak of end of days and all of that. And yes, end of days are here. Well, every day comes to an end and then we have a new beginning. So we're in a time that is beginning, and it's going to get interesting. So let's talk about this comet a little bit, okay? Now, this comet named Panstar, because I barely touched on it in last week's show. I just thought that it was interesting that September 10th is going to come close. And if you follow the channel enough, you know that there's been a progression over this last couple of weeks, and it seems like everything's tying into everything. C 2017 SE, the comet is expected to reach its closest point to the sun, at which case it may grow even brighter and become visible to the naked eye. The Green Comet exploded in the night sky. Okay, so this thing, right, it was kind of faint, and then it was like, then it went like, and all of a sudden you'd see it again, and it would kind of like dim down, and it would go, and then it would kind of dim down a little bit. You know, I'm not saying it could be like a craft of some kind, but I mean, it could be, you know, could be. Especially when you see some of the close-up shots of this, whether or not the close-up shots are real, you know, because how do we know that's really it right there, right? Comet Panstar. I don't know, and I'm not saying that. I'm not saying you gotta believe it just because you see it, but you know, you look at those three things right there. It does kind of look a little bit like a craft, but this thing is huge. This comet's like, when it balloons out, when it goes, it's like the size of Jupiter. And once again, it's like if you looked at our solar system like this, I think I have a picture of it. I'll try to find it in a second. It's like it's coming in like this. It's coming in. It's an interstellar comet, much like Oumuamua was. Its first visit to our solar system. Closest approach to the sun is August 16th. It's interesting times. Interesting times. Because all of this stuff, the Hulk smash, no, I don't know. The Hulk and the smash, I don't know. But there is some talk about that. So I'm gonna touch on it, okay? But let's first go back to Oumuamua, because this was something. Supposing that Oumuamua actually is a comet, which is what they're saying now, okay? Then we may now be looking at the approach of a second object of this class. What are the chances of that? And it's like never happened before. And then it just happens. And it's happening while all of these other things are happening, right? We had the September 23rd sign, got Oumuamua, we got all these new planets, the TRAPPIST system, all of this stuff. This has been, astronomically speaking, whether planets exist or not, I have to always address all you out there because I love you all too. It's a painting. Think of it as a painting. I got to remind you, let's not argue over minutia. Let's just talk about what we're being presented. We're being presented with a lot of information. Now, is that a setup? I don't know. Is it a setup that we've been talking about the dragon, right? The dragon sign. That now you see the dragon every... I cannot get over how many people have sent me in dragon stuff. From Starbucks dragon coffee, Komodo dragon, they just there was a dragon fruit this, and to Godzilla coming out, the dragon and all the trailer, and there's remaking Enter the Dragon, that was like yesterday's news, right? We got the SpaceX dragon up there, we got all of this stuff, which I find so incredibly interesting, happening in the world. Oh, do you know that? This is interesting too. I had it, I couldn't upload it. Do you know that like last year, do you know what the #1 password was? Look this up, Google this. Dragon, right? Like everybody was making their password the dragon. So strange. So you have Oumuamua shows up, and its inclination is about 99 degrees to the plane of our solar system. This makes it very unlikely that it is a comet from our own solar system, kicked into a hyperbolic sun-escaping orbit. A lot of other people would say slingshotting around using like if it was a craft, you know? I'm just saying. So the object brightened suddenly on July 2nd by 16-fold from magnitude +12 to +9. That just means basically that you can see it better. That's what these numbers mean. This comet is currently in the north constellation of what is that, Camelopardus? I don't know. And will pass inside the orbit of Mercury in mid-August. It could become as bright as +4 magnitude. That's actually pretty bright, making it visible to the unaided eye. That means you're going to see this thing. You're going to see this thing as it gets closer. Weird, right? Weird. It's all just so weird. It's just all so weird. Oumuamua. So that was the first one. That was the. Now we have this. We have this one, which they're saying is very much like it. Okay, so here's where all of this stuff ties in. A couple of years ago, when I'm talking about Planet X, Planet 9 Nibiru, talking about all that. And I had said that if this thing was real, because at the time, of course, it was a big joke. NASA said that there's no such thing. There's no evidence of it, even though that there was plenty of evidence, and it's already been, it's been in papers from, decades ago, and famous astronomers have talked about it all around the world. But anyway, I had said that if it was approaching, and I had said that also I don't believe that it doesn't make sense. It wouldn't smack into, it could be smacking into things, which is interesting because that's the new theory of how our solar system was created. And what's weird about that is Jupiter's new moons, okay, these 12 new moons, well, the idea is if another system comes in, the massive large planets, when it comes in, they would basically swap out planets. They would steal planets. And then the planets would get sucked into the orbit because you have this mass of Jupiter, which is, just ginormous. Anything passing by near it would kind of be sucked away from what it's in, and then it would just be caught in the same loop, which is what I think this could be. I could be. Look, I'm not an astronomer, right? I'm not an astronomer. But all of a sudden, they find these 12 new moons around Jupiter, and one of them's pretty odd. They call it the oddball moon, right? Because it's going in the opposite direction. Some weird stuff. Something that we should all be thinking about. Something we should be talking about. I guess a little bit, at least in the news. Just doesn't seem like anybody wants to discuss that. They unearthed this because they were searching for Planet 9, because they know it's out there. That's what I was saying a couple of years ago. I said they'll start to say it's out there, then they'll start to look for it, then they'll start to give you more upon more upon more evidence, and then one day, about the time it's probably too late, something may be happening already, and then they say, hey, we know what caused this. It's that planet that we said didn't exist for so long. Now, what's interesting about this is then where do these, everybody wants to know, Bibles, the Bible prophecies, and why do they matter, and why should we even listen to these things, and what possibly could this have to do with anything? Okay, well, Newton understood. Let me see if I can get to Newton. Where's the Newt? Newton believed that the flood of Noah's Day was caused by a comet. It was actually a bestseller, okay? Now the reason I found this out was because when I was researching this comet, I stumbled upon this article from 2007. What struck me is the beginning, the serpent's tail coiled together menacingly. A horn juts out from its head. The creature looks as if it's swimming through a sea of stars. Or is it making its way up a basalt cliff? For Bruce Mays, the environmental archaeologist at Los Alamos National Laboratory, there is no confusion as he looks at the ancient hieroglyph scratched into the rock by a Native American shaman. He says, you can't tell me that's not a comet. Did a comet cause the Great Flood? The universal human myth may be the first example of disaster reporting. Did a comet cause the Great Flood? When it exploded near the planet, or when it exploded near the sun, it goes on to say. Because it melts and breaks apart, which is, of course, this is kind of what they're talking about with this one right here. Now, I'm not saying that I'm worried about some great flood. There's already tons of flooding. Yeah, I actually told the Dan just the other day, I said, maybe we should just get like a dinghy just in the backyard. Never know. We're in Long Island. Maybe we should have a dinghy just in case. And if anything, we can always take it out. Or maybe just like a canoe. Something. Because everybody seems to be flooding. There is some kind of craziness going on with the climate. Something that's going on in the world. If you've been on the channel long enough and if you haven't, you should subscribe. You should check the bell, should share it around, and you should go back and watch earlier shows. We have now a second magnetic shield. What? right? They always thought we had one. Animals are behaving differently. There's fish kills. There's this, there's that. There's a lot. There's drought. There's flooding. And I know that this stuff has been going on for a long time, but 18 of the last 19 hottest years on record happened in the year 2000, right? So you gotta think that maybe there's something to all of this. And not to mention, when they say that the Hulk is coming, you gotta wonder why. Nobody's talking about this in the news. I mean, this alone, the outer moons of Jupiter. Jupiter, just so you know, give you a little, the king planet. Now, the reason why it's known as also like a savior planet, and the reason why when it was in Virgo for about 9 months, September 23rd, it was bouncing around, and then it came out of Virgo, symbolizing that child that's being born, because I've also said that, this could be symbolic of something spiritually with us, that there's going to be we're all going to wake up, we're going to come to the knowledge of the truth, we're going to live our lives for more, we're going to be more, we're going to feel more, we're going to know more, right? The lights are going to go on. There's someone actually sent me an email on this too. It was funny because it was weird timing. There's a great passage in Zechariah where it talks about in an instant God's going to take away all the nonsense, like in an instant. And why not? I mean, it's possible. It's possible that the lights could go on. Who knows? Maybe this whole pineal gland thing, right? Jacob spoke to God at Peniel in scriptures, very close to pineal, the pineal gland, however you want to pronounce it. Because everybody says it a bunch of different ways. I don't want to say it the naughty way. So we have these moons. Who's to say that this king planet, because of its mass, who's to say that while we have these interstellar visitors, that there's some other system coming in? Well, if there was another system, there'd have to be some kind of a sun or something attached to it. Some kind of a star. Some kind of a star that, I don't know, if it's moving in, stuff's in its way, would probably, devour planets? Oh, yeah. They're talking about that, too. Look at the date, a couple of days ago. Stars dimming and brightening may indicate it's eating a planet or two. Sudden appearance of lots of iron. If you know anything about Planet 9, Nibiru, the scary red planet that comes in and it has this trail, and it's... Sometimes you wonder, when all the when they were skiing and everything was red. Remember that a couple of years? Well, not even a couple of years ago. Last year, all these huge dust storms where everything's red, or the blood red rain, all this red iron. Maybe you think maybe that there's something to this planet-eating star. Who would have thought, right? I'll tell you who would have thought. I would have thought, and a lot of other people would have thought, and a lot of you would have thought, because if it's true, and we're kind of awakened to it, which is what happened in my case, like I wasn't into UFOs, and I'm not into it now. I wasn't into really astronomy, or wasn't into it, not really into it now, but I had enough things put in front of me that I couldn't like deny it. There's something to this. And it's not just because I had a kookadoo dream and another follow-up weird dream, and the fact that I was, somebody put me in a book out of the blue for no apparent reason, and a book about, Planet 9 and Anunnaki and all this stuff. Alien invasion. That's the next thing. A lot of people are talking about that. And whether it's an alien invasion or it's going to be a demon invasion, I don't know. Whether that's the dragon, a lot of people have been telling me that the dragon that I was talking about, where I was talking about how, it's going to be cast down. There's two ways of looking at it. One way of looking at it is everyone around us that's not coming to the knowledge of truth is going to be a lot more kooky and mean and terrible. Another way of looking at it is that terrible thing that's been haunting us and judging us, and all those negative thoughts in our mind, where they come from. Jesus said, my words are spirit and truth, and words are spoken thought. So these evil spirits, these bad spirits, these negative thoughts, maybe in a moment, they're cast out. Cast out, like literally, like right now, that and in scriptures they talk about how Michael battles, and then Satan is cast down, and then he's chained. Okay, so while everybody's talking gloom and doom, I'm saying that this is like an exciting time for all of us, not just spiritually, but like in every avenue of our life. We're going to have joy again. We're going to have peace again. We're going to have harmony again. And while that's happening, because there's a major shakeup going on where the two are becoming one. See, this is interesting, because if you know anything about Scripture, Scripture talks a lot about that day the two will become one. Two become one, the double-minded man cast down, the twin towers are cast down, and then one in its place. It's about the duality of man. Here we have two systems. Who's to say that they're not becoming one? And as they're becoming one, we are seeing great changes in the world. I mean, Kilauea, the volcano. I mean, you could probably right now just, all I have to do is say, oh, and the earthquake that just happened, because most likely there will be one within a certain period of time. It's like just one thing after another thing after another thing. So that tells me that something's about to give. And this comet could be like the herald of it, if you will. It's just very strange. And the timing of it with this, the blood moon, it's just very strange to me. All of it is incredibly strange, but wonderful at the same time. Just so you know, by the way, that the comet is going to be on, I think at the exact same time. You could probably see it. I think like everything is going to be happening at the same time. Like Mars is going to be closer to the Earth than it has in a long time. I think we know, I've talked about that. Whether or not Mars is that dragon or Planet 9 is that dragon, I cannot tell you. Whether it's this visitor from another solar system or galaxy or an interstellar interloper. It's very strange to me. And that's why I think all of you should chime in. So I did say, what I want to do with these live streams is I want to kind of dedicate the first half to talking about the stuff that's going on, how I see it, and then I want to come on over here to all of you, and I want to see what you think. I want to see if you are excited about this. If you think it's a bunch of malarkey, man, there's got to be a reason why all of this is happening as it's happening. There's got to be a reason. That's why I titled it Theyre Here. Because it's no longer about whether or not something's, coming or not. Something's here already. Something's here already. And I think all of you understand that. I think all of you are very excited, like Denise. Oh, and Noella. Oh, good grief. Thank you so much. Listen, everybody who supports this channel, you guys are all just aces. I know I don't talk about it a lot, and I always do get in the super chat, I always get like almost taken off guard when people thank you so much, and I always feel bad because I feel like maybe maybe they had to get pulled away or something. But Noella, I'm probably saying this wrong. Cuivas. Noella, hey, you got a great name, by the way. You got a great name. And I think that name kind of goes along with where we are right now. Chris Cap. Okay, I'm going to read what you wrote over here, Chris. Exciting time. I woke up last blood moon. Yeah, me too. Wow, right? Started questioning stuff. Flat Earth conspiracy theory. Eventually, I flipped on the floor symbol. Yeah, right. The Mandela effect, right? I completely, like everything is different. Everything is changing. And that's why it's so important for us to use our brains, to use our minds, to use our words to go to where we're supposed to go, to do what we're supposed to do. Like, anything is possible. Anything's impossible if you have an open mind, like Helen Weary. Hello, I'm probably pronouncing your last name too wrong. Forgive me. It's true. Hello, Melinda. Happy Tuesday to you. Krista York. I am also super excited. The fact is, our God is in control, and I trust that whatever is coming will be amazing. Yes! Absolutely. That is absolute truth. See, that's the thing. That's the thing. And that's why I don't like all the fear. I'd be lying. Look, I'd be lying to you if I told you that I haven't stored up some food and some water, first aid kit. Not just because you start to see things, and as a storyteller, you see how it goes. You follow the breadcrumbs. You show up at the gingerbread house. Are you gonna go in? Because you want some sugary snacks, you want to get burnt by the witch, or are you gonna just kind of stay away? Some point you see how things are, and you have a choice to make. My choice is I'm going to be prepared, but I'm also not going to be fearful, because I do believe that I have a great purpose in this world, and this is just the beginning. I mean, I am. Also, there are a lot of cool movies that are coming out in like next year and the year after. I know that doesn't sound like a good reason to have faith in the future, but I want to see them. And, like Godzilla. I mean, as just spooky as this trailer was, I wish that I could roll it in right now. I mean, my goodness, talking about how like the end is coming, but the Titans are gonna return. Godzilla and Mothra, and oh my goodness. When I was a child, because I'm 1971, I was born in 1971. And my birthday was just June 11th. So, kooky Gemini from 71. And I loved Godzilla. I loved it. I can't wait for this movie. I can't wait. Like Monster Island, the best ever. But I don't think it's a coincidence that all of this stuff is happening. Sometimes, I want to give you all some advice too. By the way, I'm going to come back in here in the chat. I want to give you all some advice. When you're talking to your friends and your family members and everything else, it is not your job to tell them how things are supposed to be. It's not your job to tell them about the Mandela effect. You don't have to tell them about this. You don't have to tell them about that. You don't have to tell them about an incoming system that may or may not be on its way. You don't have to tell them about any of it. You don't have to tell them about the banks, the Rothschilds. You don't have to tell them about any of this stuff, because you know what? They're probably not ready. But what you need to do, you need to have no fear, and you need to love, and you need to shine the light. Because, I mean, you can't, I don't understand how all of you that are here right now, all of you think the way I think, you see things the way I see. There's an anticipation. And that it's bubbling over. Listen, in Israel right now, what just happened? Just happened. Look it up if you don't know what's going on. In Israel right now, and I've talked about it a couple of times, because I have this I'm like, oh, I don't want there to be some... They just go back, and I wrote about it years ago. Meanwhile, you have Harry Potter is like everywhere too. It's a whole other thing. I wrote an essay about Harry Potter in Israel. You'll see. But it's interesting that here we are 2 years later, and it's all kind of happening again. And as I even started speaking about Israel, I see, boom, they attack, and they're the biggest one ever. And now they just shot down I think it was a Syrian jet as it entered airspace, and they just got all the green helmets out. And I've been saying for a couple of years that that's where it would start. It would be, because in the physical world, it has to get broken up, and all these signs are playing out above Israel. I'm not making any bold predictions or prophecies. I'm not saying that there's going to be some kind of terrible attack. God forbid. I did have a nightmare about it. I had a nightmare about it. It did a couple of years ago. It bothered me. wouldn't be very hard, especially with so much nuclear waste has been, nuclear material just disappears from, our government's care, and Russia's care. I mean, just disappears. It's not a hard thing to think that, and also all of these, who even says that they're legitimate? We don't even know with some of these things that happen if they're legitimate, if they're like legitimate terror attacks or like false flags or just something to set up something else. Right now, Israel is a Jewish state. And I couldn't believe it, just seeing that alone. Interesting. And when Trump declared, remember I had a feeling that something was brewing about Israel, and I said, what's going to happen in Israel? And I had like a picture of Jerusalem, and then it was like a week later, then Trump comes out and says, this is where this is the capital. Boom. Because it's all like part of the plan. And it's almost like these people are like working together to try to take the literal Bible and like literally manifest it. But if that's the case, okay, it's all right, because the end is it's the beginning. And it's a pretty cool beginning. In an instant, iniquity is taken away. In an instant, the lights are going to go on. Things are going to get better. Sometimes they got to get worse before they get better. Sometimes they got to get really bad. I hope that something terrible doesn't happen. A lot of people are thinking that, July, this blood moon is going to be, it's going to like be the, like a Nostradamus thing. It's going to happen, and then boom, either something's going to crash into us, or, there's going to be, I don't know. But I do know that whatever happens, the thing that I'm waiting for is that life that I'm talking about all the time. Because I know it's here. And how do I know it's here? Because we have interstellar visitors that are here. Whether or not space is real. I got to include everybody because I love you all. Interstellar visit. We had visitors entering our solar system from another. All of this stuff is happening at the exact same time. You're telling me I'm not going to be fired up and crazy and excited about it? Especially at the same time as the channel's doing better? Especially at the same time when I hear from so many of you that your lives are getting better? Especially when I see and I get all these emails, and I get so many emails. I want to tell you something too. Like, I try to get back to everybody. I really do. And I do spend a good deal of time answering comments, but I answer comments on like all the shows, so you're not going to see me answering every, because it's almost an impossibility. I have 4 children. That's why I like these live streams, and for you that get here, like right now, there's over 500 of you right now. Buster, Robert, David, Angie 1111, be scared or be excited, a choice. Yes, Angie 1111, a choice, and that's that 1111, right? 11111. We talked about this in the last, I think it was the last live stream, like a wake-up call to get us in alignment, the 2 becoming 1, right? The 1 and a 0, the 1 and a 0 in on off, black white, negative, positive, evil, good. You have all that when you have the 1111. It was binary system. I said, what if it was a computer? What if this is all some kind of really... And that's another thing too, people. I know I bounce around a lot. Some of you say you bounce around too much. But what if, this is another thing too, where like some people say, oh, it's a simulation. Stephen Hawking, I did a video on him on his death, before he died. He thinks we're a projection. We're a holographic projection from a black hole. So what we're experiencing doesn't exist. It's 2D information all the way back there. And I compared it to in heaven and earth, right? Whatever's bound in heaven is bound in earth. Same thing. I talked about that, how we're already in heavenly realms, and we're just experiencing it in a temporal realm. And, who's to say if this is a simulation? Things change, right? Mandela effect. It's time to wake up. We're going to be waking up to the changes in the matrix. Now, if it's not a simulation, well, it's still a creation. That's the thing, especially when you start looking at the quantum level. You get down to like Planck level, and you start looking at like nothing. Everything's like nothing. My daughter Shiloh said that to me the other day. She was sitting here, and I was working on last week's show, And she goes, Dad, what really kind of bugs me out is like, all this, it's like, it's really nothing. It's like nothing. It's all the same thing, but it's like organized differently, and there's more nothing than there is something. That, my friends, is something to chew on when your 14-year-old daughter starts talking like that. Then you say, maybe you're watching my show, and maybe you should start doing shows of your own for kids your age. Because I think people need to wake up, and I think that the fact that the day that we're in is upon us, where like all this kookiness is happening. As Michael Jackson says in the chat room, stop hating, period. Or you'll be met with hate. I mean, that's true. If you think about it, whatever you put out, you get back. The problem is, you're still probably reaping some of the things that you've gotten in your life. You're still probably experiencing some of the pain, some of the heartache, some of the strife that you may have or may not have. I don't know how it works. Put out there already. And that's why we need to forgive. That's why we need to forgive. There you go. Aphalon, Where Angels Fall. That's my buddy Bob. Ask Bob right now if he put me in a book years ago about aliens invading and called me Noah Israel. He's right there. Great book, by the way. Awesome book. What a great sci-fi writer. He's in the chat. All of this stuff happening for a reason. All of this stuff playing out just like an awesome movie. And you know why it's playing out like an awesome movie? Because you're the star. You're the star. You're the star of the show. The problem is you got to connect with the one who created the star, wrote the part. You know what I'm saying? You got to connect. You got to get with that. Now, if you don't believe in something more than yourself, okay, I'm going to try to put it in scientific terms so you can understand that. You probably believe in a subconscious mind, right? You don't know the subconscious mind. You can't control the subconscious mind. You can't get the subconscious mind to do this or do that for you, but you know that it's there. Kind of in charge of everything's bigger than the conscious mind, which is you. Sort of like the conscious mind is in the subconscious mind. And the subconscious mind is in the conscious mind. It's almost like the conscious mind is a projection in the material world, as Jacob, right? From the subconscious mind. You never meet the subconscious mind. Subconscious mind is much greater than the conscious mind. Now, Jesus said that about God. Now, I'm not saying God is the subconscious mind. But what I'm saying is that you are a very small part of an infinite thing. But the amazing thing is that very small part that you were attached to is infinite because it's the same thing. You just projected into it. So here's the problem, is when you were projected into it, you took upon yourself the sins of the world. You began to believe that your name is Jacob, your name is Pete, your name is Linda, your name is, I could go into the chat and just say everybody's name. That's who you are. And all your experiences formed you into believing that you're this ego, this character. We can change. We can be somebody completely different if we choose to be. In Scripture, God's name, he told Moses to go tell Pharaoh. He said, tell him my name. I am that I am. And what that means is I will be whatever I will be. Scriptures say that we are a child of that, a creation of that. Now, if you have a child, you are basically, your information is now transferred into that child. The two of you come from and now are the same thing. And yet, projected into the world a little differently. The problem is, if that little child is told his name is Bartholomew or Betty, if it's a her, and Bartholomew and Betty have to live this way and believe in this God and think this way and do this and do that and eat this and be this political affiliation but not that, and be angry with this political affiliation but not this, right? Dislike this race, love this race, be scared of this race, be ashamed of this race, right? All these things formed in the dust of the earth. We took upon ourselves the knowledge of good and evil. We sucked it all up when we came into this world and we died. What did we die to? When Adam ate of that tree, He died, but he didn't physically die. That's what everybody thinks, that death is physical dying. No, see, we're already dead. That was Jesus' message. He was telling you all, you're all dead. You're all dead in your trespasses. You forgot the truth of who you are. You believe that you're just working at the dollar store, Bertha. You think your name's Bertha, but you're not Bertha. You think you're just that guy, Tony, selling that Ferrari in Santa Barbara, but you're not. You're more than that. You died to the truth of who you are, to who you are. I am that I am. You're the child of that. That's what Jesus said. He said that I'm the way, I'm the truth, I'm the life. He says, if you want to, when they came to him and said, good master, what do we do to inherit eternal life? What do we do to be saved? What do we do to be set free? How do we know? He goes, just, you got to do what I do. You got to know what I know. You got to believe in what I'm saying. You got to believe in me. I'm telling you the truth. You got to seek the truth no matter what the cost. You got to say, teach me the truth. I'm not going to tell you where to go. I'm not going to tell you what to believe. I'm not going to tell you what name or magic name to use like religion likes to do. Because I know that we're all connected to the one creator of all. The name I use is God. The name I use is Father. But these are all just names. But the truth is we're connected to it. So while all of this stuff is playing out astronomically speaking, and everybody's focused on whether or not we're going to have, a terror attack in Israel, or comets crashing into this and blowing up that, or war, or the mark of the beast, new world order, new temple, blah, 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 all this stuff. Everybody's focusing on all that, but they're missing the bigger picture, because none of this, like my daughter Shiloh said, none of it's real. Hawkins says it's a hologram. Musk and those guys, Musk, by the way, interesting. I was going to talk about him I'm going to do it in another episode. But what, simulation, right? James Gates, simulation. I say we are on Earth. We're here in this, whatever we call our reality. But we're only in it. We're not of it. Because we're bigger than this. We're better than this. We are more than we know. And that's why, now that they're here, these interstellar visitors, you, my friends, need to see the truth. You need to seek the truth. You need to live. I want to thank more super chat. Thank you so much, Melissa. Truth is my armor. First of all, let's just look at her name. By the way, truth is my armor. That is like so true. Truth is my armor. Now, how do we know how to use that armor? This is a great little lesson. I'm glad that Melissa. Thank you. Oh, and by the way, thank you for the support, Melissa. Thank you, Brenton. Of course, again, thank you so much. It means so much to me. And all of you in the chat, Austin, Edward, it's the fourth day of creation, he says. If that's the case, what was the Earth orbiting before the fourth day? Interesting question. I say, figure it out, come back and tell us all. Noella says it's a projection, a game for us to learn who and what we are, how to forgive and love unconditionally, and most of all, it truly all comes down to faith. How strong our faith is. How far we can go knowing. Yes! That's so what I believe too. This is it. It's coming to the knowledge. That's what the scriptures, by the way, they teach too. This is another thing. It's until all come to the knowledge of the truth and the stature of the perfect man. So in other words, and so all will be saved, the scripture goes. And all will come to the knowledge of the truth and the stature of the perfect man. So in other words, the lights are going to go on. All of these things that are happening not to us, but they're happening for us. If in your life you're being persecuted, if you're being hurt, if you're flooding, if lava blows up your boat because you're getting a little too close, if you're on the duck boat and you lose God. So much sadness, so much pain. All of these things are happening for us. They're not just happening to us. You have a choice in how you process information. Are you going to let something destroy you, or are you going to let something bring you to a higher plane of life and existence so that you can then help others to know the same? Something's going down, astronomically speaking. Something's going down, physically speaking. Something's going up, spiritually speaking, with us. When Jesus was standing on, there was two disciples, and they were looking up. They were looking up. They're like, "You're supposed to, I don't understand. Where is he? Where is he? Where's Jesus? Where's he?" they're like, "Where is he? He's supposed to be here. Supposed to." And then, Jesus appears, and he's like, and always appears, by the way. They don't really know he's there. All of a sudden, he's manifested. That's the word. He says, "What are you doing looking up there?" And they said, "Well, don't you know, that the it's going to return." Right? How many people are saying that? How many people are saying that? And then we have these interstellar visitors. A lot of people think that's the return. A lot of other people are saying that if that was the return, that's like the false return. I'm going to say that the return is a little bit deeper. I'm going to get into it, what it is. And it's actually really not even a return, because God never leaves us nor forsakes us. It's more of, it's like it manifests again in a bigger way. But, so what Jesus says, he goes, "Why are you looking up, you silly gooses? Why are you looking up? Why are you like Jacob with the telescope looking up, all so concerned," right? They didn't say because all these signs are happening, and maybe they're like a map. And maybe because the stars, they don't change, that like if something is coming around, you would look up when it's leaving, and you would say that, there's Virgo and so you tell a story. A virgin is crowned by 12 stars and travailing in birth because Jupiter has been there for 9 months. And then on this, that's going to leave, and then that's going to happen over here, right? So you'd tell a story that would then be translated into like every major holy book and every major religion, and you'd have these stories like the Great Flood, and you'd have this and the dragon story, and you have all of these stories that would be translated so that when it comes around again, when the stars take that alignment, they're here. Just saying. But they didn't say that. They weren't looking up for that reason. They were looking up because they were waiting for some kind of a return. But Jesus said, now this is what's cool. Don't you know? The Son of Man returns the same way he was taken up. Now, a lot of people read that and they think the opposite. The same way he was taken up, so he shall be manifested again. The same way he was taken up, so shall he be manifested again. He's not descending when he's manifested again. When he comes again, erchomē, to be revealed, as if I'm covered in a blanket and I rip it off. When the Christ, the truth, comes again, is revealed again, it's going to be an elevation. And that's what I think is going on. That's what I think is, that's why I'm excited. That's why I'm happy. And yeah, all the other stuff probably going down at the same time too. So, there's that. But I just wanted to come on here and tell you all that and give you a little bit of insight, and a little bit of understanding, a little bit of love. And I really hope that all of you are buckled up, especially for like the next couple of weeks. I got this feeling, right? I got this feeling that like the next couple of weeks are going to be so weird. I don't know what that means, but it's going to be enough, I think, to get even more people to seek out channels like this one. And I hope that you tell your friends. And I'm going to stick around in the chat. I'm going to talk to you for a little bit, maybe 5, 10, 15 minutes or so. So if you want to stay in the chat, and I'll hit you there. In the meantime, thanks all of you for coming. And keep your eye out in the skies, because this is going to be a cool thing. Like, check out that blood moon if you can, especially if you're down there in Israel. Keep your eyes peeled. And try to see all the planets too. So it's an interesting thing. These events that are happening right now, you may not see them again, ever. Well, you may not. These things that are happening in our lifetime, they don't happen often at like all. We don't get interstellar visitors like that we're aware of. We're aware of it now. We got 2. I love each and every one of you. Thank you. Talk to you soon. Bye-bye. Don't forget, I'll see you, maybe Friday. I don't know. We'll see.